People who were engaged at one point but never got married, what happened? He wasn't participating in the wedding planning at all, and I realized he didn't actually want to get married. There was a lot of pressure from his family, and admittedly, me as well. I just wanted a family and to be married and hadn't really paid attention to his reluctance up until that point. It was 3 months before the wedding and I sat down and reviewed our relationship. We were incompatible in several crucial points, even though we loved each other a lot. So I called off the wedding and ended it, and while we were both sad, we were also relieved. This was more than a decade ago, and whenever we run into each other we catch up and there are no hard feelings at all. He's married and a father now, and I couldn't be happier for him. She died due to seizures. 3 a.m., she was home alone. She woke up and got the seizure and unfortunately hit her head against a wall. 7 a.m., she was supposed to show up at her parents' house to drop off the dog before work. She didn't. 9 a.m., her parents went to check on her, dog was fine, but she was unresponsive. 9:30 a.m., she was declared deceased in the scene. 10 a.m., I was at work and I got a call from her father. I lost it right there. It was back on 2012, but still I'm not over it yet. The longer we lived together leading up to the wedding, the more he showed his true colors. One day while I was cooking dinner for us, he started screaming at me, like an inch from my face, and called me see you next Tuesday. Something about it snapped some sense into me. I walked out and never went back. We had like 6 miscarriages. At the end of the relationship, he said something to me like, "It's just so hard. I look at your face, and I feel like I see nothing but 6 dead babies, can't really come back from that one. I mean, some people can. We couldn't." He left me for a coworker he claimed for over a year was like a sister to him. They have a kid now. I have a better boyfriend. She left me for our young lecturer. Cheated on me, a lot. Cancer took her before we got married. It will be 10 years in December. It was toxic, and a month before we were supposed to get married I broke my foot at an event I was helping. She was there too, but just partying. When I told her I probably broke my foot, she said I shouldn't be a little baby and just walk home since the party was over. I couldn't stand on it. She helped me a couple meters forward and then she just pushed me. That night my mother took me to the hospital, and that night I decided all the lies and mental abuse was enough, and ended it. Best decision of my life. 3 months ago, and I'm finally getting back to being me. The Holy Spirit came to him in a dream and told him that he couldn't marry me because I wasn't a virgin. She had been fighting depression and went to stay with her family a little bit before marriage. But she started having horrible fights with her family and had a mental breakdown 2 months before the wedding and said she wasn't able to handle being a wife or in a relationship and ran to be single and disappear. He decided to recommit to his faith, he's JW, and tried to get me to convert. I refused. He then tried to tell me I couldn't go out with my friends. I went out and he had a temper tantrum that would put my 3-year-old niece to shame. He trashed the house and drove to his parents' house 2 states away. I got all the deposits back that I could. He texted me on what would have been our wedding day to remind me what a mistake I made. I sent him a picture of me and several of my friends that I was told I was not allowed to see having a very fancy sushi dinner with the deposit money. She moved home to Germany to care for her dying mother. And by dying mother, she meant some oil sheik she met in Dubai. His wife called me. He had a baby with my friend. After my dad died, my mom got engaged to another guy. She told me years later that she never intended to marry him, but she was a bit traditional and thought it would make her look better if she were engaged to a guy she was living with. No idea if the guy had the same idea. They broke up 7 years later and I haven't talked to him since. I was going to say Dave happened, but use the actual name of the chap she cheated on me with. But I cannot. Because I cannot remember his name. This is a great moment for me. Immediate update, it was Patrick. Damn it. I finally left him after he hit the dog. Years of hitting me both physically and emotionally were ignored, but the moment I heard my dog yipe, I smartened up. I got sober and recognized some things that helped me realize I didn't want to marry that person. Still sober and happily married to the love of my life. We graduated from kindergarten to grade 1. Biggest heartbreak of my life. I had a friend who was engaged. One day, she had a fight with her fiancé and drove from his house mad. On her way home, she ended up in a bad car accident. She tried to call him several times. Wouldn't pick up. Her family tried. Nothing. Her friends tried. Nothing. His friends tried. Nothing. His family tried. Nothing. Dude was quite serious about giving her the silent treatment. Needless to say, she didn't think he handled that well and broke it off. Edit, I should add that after he found out what had happened, he just kind of went, "Oh, okay," instead of apologizing or asking if she was alright. It wasn't just that he went to bed or something at the wrong time. He refused to get a job after 5 years together, and I realized I would be paying for everything on my measly teacher salary. Was able to buy my own condo a month after breaking it off. He started hanging out with the people from work and he decided to start using. So, I left. Got sick and then disabled after 2 brain surgeries. I couldn't work and wasn't getting much money from disability. I quickly became a burden according to her. I moved out and then back home with my folks. I had to leave all my friends behind as well as I moved out of state. It was good timing though for me to help my parents as they were old and sick. I became my folks' full-time caretaker and have no clue what my ex is doing. I have no ill will towards my ex and understand why we had to part ways. I broke up with him 2 months before our wedding. He was abusive to me, a narcissist, he just didn't value me. I felt that I had given so much in that relationship with nothing in return. I wasn't perfect however, I lashed out and became someone I am not due to the abuse I was enduring, I just wanted to die. I was depressed 24/7 and felt alone and he had isolated me from friends and family. I got the strength to leave after a trip visiting my family without him and realized how happy I was alone than when I was with him. When I got back, I broke up with him. I had also found out he had cheated on me. When I confronted the cheating part, he put his hands on me, causing me to have neck and back injuries. It was one of the most traumatic relationships I had ever been in. I absolutely thank myself every day for the strength I had to leave. She cheated. I procrastinated on both our lives, spending more time convincing myself I'll get there without actually getting there. I regret wasting her time. He wanted children, but I didn't. I realized he wasn't the right partner for me, he had anger issues, and I was naive and young. So once I graduated grad school, I moved out when he was gone for the day and never saw him again. I did it this way because I was afraid of his reaction.